Welcome back, everybody. My name is Eltimar, and we are going to be continuing our Let's Play of Tyranny. Where we left off last time, we killed Graven Ash. We also killed the voices of Narat, so 2 Archons are dead beneath our heels. We might have to fight Bled and Mark. We're going to go talk to him first and see what happens. But we're going to speak with Barrick. You try to get Barrick's attention, but he cannot find the strength to lift his head and register your presence. His helmet is downcast, and the iron around his eyes and mouth corroded into ragged slits that lack any of their former, evident humanity. Are you still with me, Barrick? A tremor passes through his armor. Separate from awareness, it strikes you as the jerking reflexes of a dead nerve. You can't even tell if Barrick is awake under his rusted shell, much less alive. I had to kill Graven Ash. He didn't give me any choice. You hear a choked sob under his helmet, but it goes silent just as quickly. Stand at attention. His shoulders slump even deeper than before. Barrick's knees seem to lack the strength to support his heavy frame, and it seems to take all of his remaining willpower just to stay upright. I have questions for you. His head moves to the left and right, a pantomime of refusal that might be nothing more than a loss of focus and coordination. Okay, farewell then. In spite of his infirmity, you can tell that there's still enough strength left in Barrick's limbs. He may even mumble a choice word at times, but they will be nothing more than the echoes of a lost man. We have broken him. Damn. Alright, Lantry. Finishing the last pen strokes of a note running about his left arm, Lantry looks up at you with a nod.
Not to steal your glorious day in the sun, but I must say, now all my notes on you are suddenly worth 10 times their weight in iron. My journals will melt the linens off the ladies, I tell you. What's that you say? Buxom, nubile lasses with an interest in old men who know history. You need a definitive tractatus on the trials and tribulations of the Archon of the Tears? Ha! Well, you're in luck. I think one can safely conclude that you have the Overlord's attention, and that of the Tears. Soon, all of Tyranny. You realize, I trust, I hope, that nobody other than Kairos has ever cast an edict until you.
Happen to know when Kairos first cast an edict?
Good question. In parts north, it's commonly held that Kairos' Edict of Dust was the first, but it was cast in the year 11. It was just the first edict to ripple across the whole of Tyranny. If you lived somewhere that used to have antelope, you probably think that's the first edict of the Overlord. But here, the answer is given to us by the Overlord's own sense of posterity. Year 0 of Kairos' calendar is said to correspond to the day Kairos went from warlord to wearer of many crowns. A victory won when the first Edict of Storms shocked both the Cloud Barons and the realm of Medrev to capitulate.
Also safe to assume Kairos will try to solve me in some fashion.
At the same time, if you really were a meaningful threat, you'd have already been the victim of an edict, or Bled and Mark's daggers. So this has me rather curious. Just what does the Overlord wish to do with you?
Are you sure history hasn't just been edited or forgotten to those who could rival the Overlord?
Well, I have a hard time believing that someone would cast an edict and not have it noticed.
Yes, but maybe a rival casts an edict. Kairos kills the rival, takes credit for the events.
Well, as of now, I've seen with my own eyes that the Overlord is not unique in this regard. And I suppose you're all the evidence I need to throw suspicion on the record. Now, if you are right, that implies the Overlord has no qualms silencing and murdering those who pose a threat. In your case, at least my written record of you might survive. See? I'm being optimistic.
Antelope? Is that an animal?
Yes, or it was, at least, until they were all wiped out by the Edict of Dust. Or that's as best we've pieced it together from the records. From what we've gathered from their skeletons, they were some sort of mute beast man that ran on 4 legs.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Alright, we've talked to both of our people. Apparently Siren is a little bit quiet right now. She doesn't want to go into anything too much. Let's go to Vendrian's Well for a moment. Actually, we need to go somewhere close by. How long is that? 10 hours? We might as well just go to a spire at that point. We can go buy some camping supplies and possibly take a rest. We're going to wait for Bledenmark's missive, and then we're going to go fight him or talk to him. I'm hoping he's open to conversation, because he is the best assassin in the entire world. He's the Archon of Shadows, so I have a feeling he's going to be a little bit tough. Kid, if I hadn't said it before, I'll say it now. I'm going to enjoy killing you, and while I'd love to carve your heart out and feed it to the darkness in a remote spot in a shaded weald, unlike you, I'm not dumb enough to act on a whim. Can't wait for the Adjudicator's execution order. I'll be anticipating your arrival at court. Don't snuff the lights. Bledenmark, Archon of Shadows, and Court Blade. Oh, damn. Alright. We need to see something quickly. This part, I'm not going to tell you why I'm doing these things, but someone spoiled this for me before, so... You're going to wonder why I'm not taking along Siren, but I can't tell you. Or more specifically, I won't tell you. Where's Verse? I know you're probably... That's Lantry. What the hell am I doing? Wrong person. You're probably like, what the hell? She's very powerful. Yes. Yes, she is. I'll explain later why I had to do it this way. Oops. Fatebinder, I never thought that anyone could get the jump on the voices of Nerat. He outlasted most of his enemies and ate the others. He was this great, bottomless thing. I had just assumed that he would be around forever, and now he's dead. It's hard to believe, really. I'm happy, but he also gave me this life. This name. I hated him, but he was incredible, an artist. What I'm trying to say is here that I'm impressed. You've exceeded my low expectations. Do you think the Voices is really dead? If we're being honest with each other, I have my doubts. The Voices could scheme 1,000 steps ahead of anyone. I can only imagine that he had something planned for his death. Some contingency. It could be so complex that we might never recognize it if we saw it. It might not even happen in our lifetimes if we're lucky. Got questions for you.
And I
need you
seem
to
to
come
be
along.
missing.
Let's take Verse with us.
Let's see what falls out of you.
Now, we need to take a really close look at her talents because they're bad. We're going to put her as a duelist, by the way, this time. I know that we have quite a few of her skirmisher talents, but we have at least 12 points. So. That one. That one. That one. That one. That one's pretty good. That one. That. And that one. That's for sure. Okay. I'm going to put some swords on her. I'm going to put the Voices of Nerat weapons on her, actually.
Hey, this looks fun.
I think those are the best weapons for her. We'll take a quick look. Or no, we're going to take, instead of Gentle Touch, we'll take Harm's Way. Its damage is actually quite high. Swap these around. There we go. We need some armor for her. She's going to be using light armor because she needs to be agile. And I don't think we actually have very much light armor around. Well, maybe we do. Light leather gloves. That armor. She doesn't need the... Ooh. No, that's heavy. I wish I could organize this into light. Oh, maybe I can. Item type. There we go. That might make it easier. Heavy, 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 heavy. Light, but worse. Garbage, garbage for her. Gloves, those are heavy. All those are the same. It's heavy. Oh, that's better than what she's currently using. And boots. Okay, and then some trinkets here. Not frozen burst. Frenzy might be useful. Probably get haste on her, even though it's only +1. And then lucky, I think, is good too. What was this other one? Oh, purifying, right. Immunity to poison isn't going to help her too much. Then we have to throw some skill points at her, so let's get some more damage. A little bit more accuracy for her dual wielding. She already has good quickness, but dual wield also relies on quickness, so we'll give her a little bit more of that. We're going to get her up a little bit in terms of those ability or those stats, so that she doesn't get flattened as easily. Her defenses are fairly low. And then maybe a bit more, 1 more strength, 2 more accuracy, or maybe not, maybe just 2 more accuracy. Okay, that looks good enough.
I'll do it for the North.
I'll explain in a later video why I'm taking a long verse. It's not because I don't like Siren or anything like that. Also, let's level up Barrack even though he's a broken shell of a man. Actually, I'm just going to give him some accuracy. And another talent. Probably give him... Actually, it's a little bit late for training ground. We're almost at the end of the game. Let's just give him the Art of the Blade, make him... No. It's a little bit late for that now. Powerful multi-hit attack that dazes, stuns, and sunders. That sounds good. Immune to push and prone, and a large boost to endurance, but you can't move. Let's just get our Art of the Blade then. Okay, we're going off to the Bastard City now. Tunon's Court. Whew. Oh, I forgot to buy camping stuff. That's fine. You know what? We're fine. It's all good. This is going to be a very interesting meeting. We have a missive from Fatebinder Mythos. Or Myothis, sorry. Dear Eltimar, based on what you've told me, it seems a stretch to believe that these events are mere coincidence or circumstance. Kairos' edict of execution was a setup for someone to claim Ascension Hall. To think that Kairos did not know what would happen is a massive underestimation of the Overlord's long view. You've been thrust into the arena of the mighty. Your options are to retreat into obscurity, suicide, or rise to the occasion. I suggest the third option. If I were you, I would use my connection to the spires to see if they will all awaken to my presence. Every tearsman sees the spires in the horizon. If they know you are the master of the spires, they will see you each time they look to the sunrise or sunset. Foster a reputation for power, make others fear you. That is what I've seen Kairos and every living Archon do for as long as I've lived, and there's a reason for this. There's a practical case that power and reputation insulate you from threats, but there's a lesser-known element that I can't prove, but I know in my heart to be true. The fear and love of others will strengthen your magic. This last part I've inferred from my discussion with Bled and Mark. In the few times he has spoken of his gruesome work of slaying those who might rise to threaten the Overlord, he has hinted that it's easier to kill the rogue elements before they become famed and fearsome. In my lifetime I saw Graven Ash change from an unknown militiaman to a fearsome general, and I can assure you he did not have the power to shield his warriors in those days, when he was without a title or reputation. The Archons will never ever discuss the origin of their power, because such knowledge might be used against them, but I have known all the Archons to be obsessed with the presentation of power. Your connection to the Spires will all but guarantee the Archons will want to control and destroy you. It's a question of if, not when. Start thinking and acting like an Archon. As far as I'm concerned, you are an Archon. The Archon of Spires! So there we go, someone already claimed, one of the people that mentioned a title for us, the Archon of Spires. It is our actual title, or we're supposed to be, I guess. We are quick to place labels on powers we easily spot, and history is replete with Archons of fire and ice. It is foolish to think there must be a word for such a thing before an Archon can control it. Other way around, the Archons show us what is possible, and we must step to their dance. Myothis. We have no response to give. The hall is empty. There's nobody left
No
here.
reason to tarry.
It's just us. If we die horribly, we might have to go back and rest. Oh, there's a lot of people here. No more proceedings will be held for nobles today. This court is closed. This is an outrage. We demand to be heard. This decree is not subject to deliberation. The officers will escort you all out. Oh man, this is gonna go interestingly. Fatebinder. I had assumed you would ignore my court summons, as you have in the past, but it would appear that only the threat of criminal punishment spurs you into action. Tanon gestures with his staff to the rest of the court audience. Let us proceed, Fatebinder. This could very well be the defying hour of the conquest. I will bow to Tanon.
I first want to make it clear why we've assembled today. After the collapse of Vendrian's Well and the start of the Civil War, it became clear to me that there must have been some great fault on the part of the Archons. We come together to root out the source of our troubles, and determine which of the Archons has sown more chaos during the war.
I can point to the culprit and spare us the discussion. Bloodmulch aims the tip of a crude dagger at your heart. This is the scum who brought down the voices. I hope it isn't your intention to arm yourself before a court of peaceful legal representatives, Commander, unless it to offer amusement as Blood and Mark flays you for our delight. Khalil offers an encouraging smile. He squints at Khalil and slowly resheaths his weapon. Tanon turns to aim what you can only assume is a stern look. He refocuses back onto you with cool stoicism.
Much has happened since I dispatched you on that mission.
Graven Ash and the voices of Nerat, the appointed generals of this war, are both dead. You were instructed with bringing justice to the unlawful, but you have clearly taken the law into your own hands. Tanon hovers in thought, in a thoughtful, accusatory silence. Ash was unstable. I needed to put him down. Liar! Albatronus readies to say more, but a glance from Tanon silences her.
You would have been better served bringing charges and evidence against him. Regrettably for us all, that opportunity is now closed. The court has a serious problem to address. Your conduct throughout this campaign has come into question, and you will answer for your actions.
Will I? You have made quite the name for yourself, Fatebinder. Stories of your deeds have spread through the tiers, and all of them have reached this court. Some actions have consequences. We will see what your actions have wrought.
The court has its own charges to present, and invites you to answer for yourself.
I expected as much. Bring on your charges.
The trial begins now. I recommend that you treat these moments with deserving gravity, as they might be your last. Don't attempt to lie or evade answers. I will judge you in the objective eyes of our Overlord. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
At least your civility remains intact. You are on trial for transgressing on the Overlord's authority, breaking the laws of the Empire, bringing mayhem to an otherwise orderly conquest, and meddling in concerns that fell beyond your station. Our directive to bring Kairos' peace to the Tiers has suffered, and you will answer for the part you played.
If you don't mind, Adjudicator, we are on familiar terms with the Fatebinder here. Should any inconsistencies require our input, we will add our voices as testimony. She nods to Rogalis and then turns to you with an unreadable expression.
The court has inquiries into your conduct. I first call your travel companions to speak on your behalf as witnesses to your character or accomplices to your crimes. Who will speak on behalf of the Fatebinder? The ironclad commander will step forward, if indeed he has the strength to walk.
Beric does not show any sign of waking up from his numb stupor.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf?
Thanks a lot, Beric.
Scarlet Fury, you who sacrificed your old life for this one, step forward.
Me? As if the likes of me has any business speaking in a grand hall before the Archon. Why, I've murdered enough folk to stack their bodies up to the podium 10 times over. Your Honor, the Fatebinder and I get along like a couple of cats. We scratch here and there, but there's respect to be had. Sometimes I think we agree on too much, but can't fight everyone. I suppose I've had worse bosses, and I suppose I've had better friends. But this one's something special. I've killed for him, and I'll do it again.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf? Let the aged chronicler step forward.
If it may please the court, I will speak true. I have had the honor and privilege of shadowing the Archon. A dream come true for someone so eager to witness history in the unfolding. I can say, with conviction, I am following greatness.
Thank you, Lantry. And if required, I could produce my travelogue to back my claims. I have noted the good with the bad, and I think you'll find the Archon has been a force of order and balance, exactly what you should want from a Fatebinder.
Will anyone else speak on the Fatebinder's behalf?
Evidently not. The time has come for the Fatebinder to offer his testimony. You entered the Old Walls, a clear violation of Kairos' law. How do you answer for this perversion of justice? Do you think yourself above the law? Circumstances took me there, Your Honor, not greed. Are circumstances the best defense you can muster? Because no one in this court has allowed circumstances to lead us to unlawful conduct. Rogalis crosses his arms. Tanan weighs the matter while studying you in silence. At Vendrian's Well, you joined with the enemies of Kairos, abandoning your orders to resolve the siege and the conflict between the armies. How do you answer for this charge? It also bears mentioning that you were not tasked with satisfying the Overlord's edict, only proclaiming it. Finding a solution was for the Archons to accomplish with martial force. Rogalis nods to Tanan. No amount of mediation could get the Archons to work together, and the war only invited mayhem. I organized the Tiers as I saw fit. You fought alongside both armies during the conquest, so I shouldn't doubt your perspective on the matter, though I find it troubling. Kairos' edict at Vendrian's Well should have destroyed the Archons or forced them to cooperate, but your intervention alone was the deciding factor. Tanan appears deep in thought.
I have one final question, Fatebinder. You were brought to this campaign to adjudicate the disagreements between the two armies. After your arrival, matters quickly escalated into a civil war. Did you knowingly join the conquest of the Tiers to sow discord in your wake, or were you merely a victim of circumstance?
I recognized the Archon's corruption from the start. It was only a matter of time before they turned on each other, and I was prepared for that eventuality.
If you anticipated a failure on this scale, you should have informed me, or else worked to avoid it rather than pit combatants against each other.
Truly the wisdom of the court knows no bounds, Your Honor. Rogalis turns to you with an imperious look.
I am finished with my line of questioning. Have you any closing remarks for the court?
Though I have ever strived to bring peace and order to this shattered region, I recognize that our work is an uphill battle, and well worth the struggle.
The way you frame it, the conquest sounds like a matter of true personal investment. Most curious. After weighing the charges, this court finds you innocent. Against all reason or expectation, I find you innocent. Your testimony was sufficient to justify your deeds, your self-appointed authority, and your undermining of Kairos' law. I can hardly believe it myself.
Tanon raises a trembling hand to his mask. Adjudicator, are you unwell? Regalis takes a cautious step. Leave him. I want to see how this plays out. Khalil leans forward with interest.
Archon, your presentation in the court today has shaken many of my core beliefs. Things I held sacred under Kairos' law are now uncertain.
He looks at his gavel with a sense of bewilderment.
I once thought that Kairos was the sole overlord. The notion of rising to her echelon of power and influence wasn't a concept that existed for me, for anyone. You have proven her wrong. What's more, you understand justice and law better than she ever did. Better than even.
Upon his mask, the corners of his eyes crinkle as if in agony.
I am willing to accept you as my new sovereign, if you'll have me.
I accept. Together we will rewrite law and lay the groundwork for a new empire.
My gavel and my justice are yours. I will execute your laws as you draft them, show mercy as you see fit, and bring to ruin all who would reject you.
Man, I am becoming the king. This is amazing. Bled and Mark. We forgot all about Bled and Mark. Oh god. Silently, Bled and Mark seeps from the shadows. He glides forward, palming two black-bladed daggers as his eyes dart between you and Tanon.
Adjudicator, kid.
He greets the both of you with a curt nod before stating his claim.
Allow this blade to cut to the point. I have an objection, or two.
He twirls both daggers, fingers moving deftly in and out of shadow, the movement nearly hypnotic and wholly blurred. And all the while, his burning eyes bore into yours. I'm not some kid. I am an Archon now. You do understand who you're messing with, right? He smiles widely and dangerously, teeth gleaming in the darkness.
Look, it's not like I have a grudge against you. I just can't let you live on Kairos' orders. I'm sure you understand.
Kairos' mandate doesn't require either of us to die. We need only bow to one another. Tanon is willing to swear to me. Why won't you?
I would not so readily hand my leash to another. Really? Did you think I would allow myself to be used by someone like you? That you could send me to strike at the Overlord? No. I would feel your blood pool beneath my feet first.
It would appear the court headsman is determined to make his stand. Under normal circumstances, I would curb this behavior with a swift execution. However, we have long since abandoned normalcy. There will be a trial by combat then. Bledenmark's claim against your own. Justice will win out, and the will of the true Overlord will be evident for the living to witness. You may begin when ready, Archon.
You don't have to do this. Neither of us has to die here. Without further word or warning, the Archon of Shadows dissipates into darkness. The lights in the room flicker and dim as he surges forward in attack.
Your trial begins anew, Archon. Prepare to defend your title, your innocence, and your very life.
Man.
Another battle!
Okay. Let's, Oh, you're doing our armor? Good. Let's get some fire going on our weapon.
I'm starting to think what's that and making friends.
He's here. Hello.
The trick is to keep twisting till you hear the snap.
Not so hard so far. Maybe you should move
That
back,
from the record?
Landry. You don't really need to be 2 inches from the fight.
I'll
And
take
you
care
should
of
heal.
it.
Hurts. Hit, doesn't it?
It does actually hurt when you hit off quite a lot. I will admit that. He's also injured. Or you're barely injured. Must have healed himself. That hurts.
From the record.
Okay, time to run away and heal yourself.
I got it.
Hit, doesn't
Take
it?
me if you can.
Well, that's interesting. That's a cool attack, actually. I wonder if I can take these things out.
A new dent. Fall before me.
Hurts when I hit, doesn't it?
That one.
So many texts and stuff.
Fucking hard!
He's got some pretty rough damage on him. We also only have one healer now, which is kind of bad. I mean, he has heals too, but it's not very good. Heal, please.
Bleed out, you
Let him
little
mark your
shit!
death.
On it. Take me if you can.
Good aim.
I want a big attack here, like a sunder. What was that?
I'll tear your skeleton out by your ass!
Ooh, that hurts. Okay, use a potion. We have a heal, kinda.
Will do.
That's how it's fucking done!
I'm guessing he's in one of these shadows.
Will do. It's a hit.
Did I miss my sunder on the shadow? It's not even moving.
Bleed out, you little shit!
Oh, we found the right one. Well, that's pretty cool.
Hurts when I hit, doesn't it?
It really does. It's kind of annoying. You keep telling me it hurts when it hits.
As you command.
I've already told you yes, it does.
Good aim.
Shit.
The trick is to keep twisting till you hear the snap.
That's it. Golden, glowering eyes wide with surprise, the Archon tumbles to the ground, coughing blood as dark as the shadows that billow and ebb around him. He clutches at his shattered ribs and grins.
Look at you. The surprise of a lifetime.
He gasps, drowning as his lungs fill with blood. The light in his eyes dims as his pupils seep blackness, expanding to fill the whole of his eyes. A look of meaning passes between you, his fingers digging into the ground.
Don't die too easily. Won't look good for me. This brightness is blinding.
Master, if you'll join me upstairs, I will pledge fealty to you in a lawful manner.
Alright then. Oh. This has been like a super intense video. Actually, a couple videos. Let's see what these guys have to say about this whole situation. Ash has fallen, then. Better that he died in the pursuit of war than some undignified bed, surrounded by weeping mourners. Better for all our sakes that the voices of Nerat left this world. I always thought that Kairos used him to thin the herd, and that anyone in the hierarchy was fair game. Speculation, of course. You look as if you have questions for me to untangle. Ask. I am feeling generous. How do you think the court will fare without Bled and Mark? Better than ever, I hope. Without the dependable aid of an unkillable assassin, I'm sure we'll stumble along the way. The court itself will have to be stronger if it expects to survive, and that sort of change is always welcome. Ash didn't leave Any remains behind, did he? Archons usually don't. I would have loved to mount his furrowed brow on the walls of the court, but I'll have to do without. I have my doubts that the voices of Narad is dead. That just seems like something he would have planned for a long time ago. You sure you got the right Archon? Kaleo shrugs. What can I do for you? How do you think the court will fare without Bledenmark? The court ought to learn the lesson that the Empire already knows. Everyone is replaceable. As long as we keep that in mind, I'm not so worried about the court. Her lips curl into a knowing smile. I hope that Ash did not suffer too terribly. Even in his worst times, he had a better sense of honor than most of Kairos' hierarchy. I know that I will sleep easier with the voices of Narad dispatched. Whenever he visited the court, I got the impression that his adherence to law was some perverse joke that only he understood. Come, let us speak freely. How do you think the court will fare without Bledenmark? For all his wisdom, the court places too much emphasis on fear and paranoia to keep legal precedent in check. It will be interesting to see how we navigate this new world you've carved out for us. The court does not lack for teeth and claws when needed, but for now, our shadowy blade is gone. That's true, he was the court executioner. And he hit like a freight train, but now he's dead. Tanon and myself are the only Archons remaining in the tiers. Although I want to look fancy and glowy, but I don't. I just have a fancy glowy hammer. It's not even my own. I had to borrow it from somebody.
Archon, change has come to the tiers, and in time it will reach the Empire itself. You are the agent of that change, and even I could not have predicted what impossible heights you would reach. The time has come to take up the gavel and usher in a new age of structure and law to the tiers. You will henceforth define justice for the rest of us. I will follow your lead and endeavor to follow your design.
Your loyalty and confidence are appreciated.
As the ruling Archon of the tiers, I submit to your authority and thank you for bringing order out of chaos.
We really are going to take over the world. That is so cool.
Go and represent the strength of law. Be the example the tiers require, the force that keeps them together, and the hope for their future under one rule. Let your justice know no mercy but that which you impose. Civilization itself will bend according to your design. Never forget this.
We got an achievement called Final Judgment.
I am grateful to stand in your loyal service, Archon, but there is a shadow over these proceedings.
He hesitates as he regards you, suddenly fearful.
Though you have proven yourself greater than the other Archons, Kairos is not satisfied. She sends a legion of expert soldiers marching on the tiers as we speak, their war songs calling for your death.
Then we need a distraction, or a reprisal.
Striking at Kairos first would send a powerful message. You have her interest. Now grab her attention. Though it sets a dangerous precedent, it may be your only recourse.
An edict proclaimed on the Northern Empire should do the trick.
Yes. Destruction on that scale might serve your purpose. The North will tremble under your forceful hand. Return to the mountain spire and see your will given shape and consequence. Show Kairos the face of true power.
Oh my god, we're gonna attack Kairos directly? Let's go see what Bledenmark's corpse has on it. I bet you they're really cool daggers. Kinda makes me wish I went dual wield now. Although maybe not. Who knows what's on his actual corpse. A glove. The Binding of Shadows. It's actually... It's a light armor. No, it's heavy armor, sorry. And it gives minus 10% to all damage taken? Yes, I will definitely wear those, thank you. That's amazing.
I'll just hold on to this.
Although I didn't actually use a whole bunch of my abilities, my weapons and stuff like that, or my special artifact abilities. I suppose I should have been more diligent about those, but still. We're going to the mountain spire, where we started out so long ago, the top of Vendrian's Well. Let's see how this goes. I wonder if this is like the end of the game or very close to the end of the game. It seems like it should be. We killed a whole bunch of very powerful people recently.
I must rest soon.
No resting. Quick saving, of course. This close to the end, we may as well. The waves of energy radiating from the spire draw you forward, pressing your body and mind in its eager embrace. At the center of this tide, the resonator stands ready to broadcast your voice, echoing your commandments to the farthest reaches of the tiers and beyond. From here, the highest point in all the peninsula, you could, with the sum total of your effort, project your will far north, past the edge of the tiers, and proclaim your edict as far as the lands of the Northern Empire. Turn to your companions. This probably amounts to a declaration of war against the Overlord. Ready? Back at the Spire, everyone's favorite destination was pissing off Kairos. This has been a long time coming, Fatebinder. I'm ready, but I hope you're prepared for whatever is ahead. Beric does not show any sign of waking up from his numb stupor. Following your progress has been, well, one of the great pleasures of my career. You've shown yourself to be something greater than even I expected. I had a rather self-indulgent fantasies of being the primary authority on the world's most fascinating figure. This will be an opening strike. Perhaps the Tiers will conquer the Northern Empire. The Spire awaits your command. Where do I click? Where am I allowed to click? It's not letting me click on anything. How am I supposed to click on the Northern Empire? Okay, let's try it again. Can I move the map? Okay, something's going on here. Okay, let's try this one more time. Can't click on anything. If I can move the map, that would be helpful, but can't click on the Northern Realms, can't click on anywhere in the tiers. Can't drag the map or anything. Okay, I'm gonna quick save and see if there's like a bug or something, maybe? Because we can go to here. There's the Edict of Fire. This is Vendrian's Well. None of these is the Northern Empire, though. So, yeah, I'll be right back I'll be right back. I'll see if I can figure this out. 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, it says I have to return to Ascension Hall first, so I have to meet with my alliance to determine what is next. So maybe I have to do that first. Before I declare my edict. That was what one of the bug sites said to do, so hopefully that'll work out. I'm just gonna quickly check to make sure. Yep, good. Okay. Hopefully this works, because otherwise we have a pretty serious bug on our hands, which is kind of annoying. The hall is full of hushed whispers, some hopeful, others terrified. You hear your name spoken more than once, and not always favorably. As you approach, the whispers cease, and everyone looks to you at once. Fatebinder, Archon, we know of Kairos' army marching south, but we were under the impression that defeating the other Archons would stem this advance. Is it true what we've heard? Kairos' forces are coming anyways? Doubt and fear and resolve vie for dominion in her shaken tone. Your words will set the mood for the coalition to come. I would not shield you from the truth. Kairos is coming to destroy everything we built. The Earthshaker bows his head and trembles. We should never have left the Overlord's mercy. Our guild is vulnerable, on the brink of annihilation. I was at your side when you did what was needed at Sentinel Stand, and I'll remain at your side now. Even if Kairos shatters this coalition, we will know that we stood tall before insurmountable odds and did not falter. I won't have my guild subjugated to slavery again. We are Kairos' toys no longer, she nods at you. We are willing to die for this coalition, come what may. Now is not the time for us to crumble to despair. Listen to me. The Archon is going to... The Archon? Eri tries to make her voice heard above the rabble, but she lets it drown her out, looking as dejected and hopeless as any of the others. You will be calm. I can repel Kairos' army. Have you taken a head wound recently? We don't have the forces to stand against this threat. How can you possibly outmaneuver the Northern Empire as it breathes down our neck? There is a resonator atop the mountain spire. I will use it to cast an edict. The room goes hushed again as everyone studies you, your words finding place in their imagination that had not existed a second before. Ari speaks with care. Do you intend on issuing this edict on the Northern Empire? Is that your plan? A fitting demonstration of my power, don't you think? I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think this is the first time I felt truly optimistic of our chances. A cautious smile flickers to her face. To send the magic of Kairos back upon the North, it could change everything. Just imagine what the people will say. I don't want... Oh, sorry. But what comes next, Archon? What of the tears and this new realm we've carved out of the mayhem of conquest? In the days to come, I will draft new laws for the realm we built together, taking from what I've learned. That sounds like a fair prospect. You've seen no small part of the tears. If the best of this realm hadn't rubbed off on you already, I doubt we'd stand here in Ascension Hall together. She smiles. She looks to the assembled leaders. Coalition, what say you? Arguably the law of the land is the most effective change that Kairos brought to Tyranus. If we would bring a more favorable version to the tiers, I think it could only help us. Laws that govern us as a unified people and not just a cluster of corrupt powers to pick and choose precedent. There's potential here, I admit. I don't know why I didn't think of it myself, a centralized code of law put together by the best of us to govern the rest. We need something to rally behind, and this just might be it. So be it then, Archon. I only hope you know what you're doing. She clasps her hand and bows. The hopes of the coalition go with you. Now we can probably go cast our edict. I was wondering why it wouldn't let us. This is the bug report. Apparently, you do have to go talk to them first. So, important side note to do first. Now we can issue it on the Northern Empire. I really like the Edict of Storms. I think I'm going to go with that one again. Oh god, here we go. We're casting an edict on Kairos' direct realm, the Northern Empire. Okay. Casting the Edict of Storms wreaks havoc on the northern capital. The winds whip in a sudden frenzy and toss unsuspecting citizens through the air, dashing them back down in the rubble of leveled buildings. Temporary settlements take in refugees, fleeing the devastation from the now uninhabitable city. Survivors all ask the same question: why did the Overlord allow this to happen? As chaos ensued in the Northern Kingdom, the armies marching on the tiers received an unprecedented order. The armies were to fall back to the capital and ensure the safety of its people from the edict. For the first time in Kairos' great conquest, the armies retreated. Soon questions would be asked in a hushed breath across the lands about what new and terrible power had emerged that could force the hand of the Overlord. You fulfilled Kairos' decree, and all the tiers is now ruled by a single Archon. Your former rivals have either submitted to you or perished, bringing the civil war to a close. No one expected one of Kairos' own to join the enemy's cause, least of all a Fatebinder. Your arrival at the tiers brought a new clarity to your place in the Overlord's authority. You resolved to make your mark upon the world through cooperation rather than conquest. Your efforts have brought together the Forgebound, the Earthshakers, and the Unbroken, three groups with nothing in common except a desire to see Kairos removed from their lands. With this alliance, you brought down the Archons that opposed you. In their pride, the disfavored never imagined themselves beaten, especially when their opponents appeared so disorganized. The last remnants of their legion dispersed, their general destroyed, their honor broken beyond mending. The scorn that follows their humbled ranks haunts them, even in the depths of obscurity. The Scarlet Chorus may have been mighty in numbers, but that didn't stop you from thoroughly scattering them, cutting off the Serpent's head and sending each of the gangs howling back to the chaos they sowed. How the remnants of the Horde occupy themselves without a war to fight becomes a topic for nightmares. The trust of a conquered nation was hard won for a servant of the Overlord, but your demonstration of loyalty earned the respect of the Tier's quarrelsome factions, and the support needed to bring order to the beleaguered people. Your wartime aid becomes widely regarded as the most influential change in the Tiers since the coming of Kairos. Word of your success spreads beyond the Tiers as well. Even the most distant corners of the Empire whisper of the Fatebinder who rose to become an Archon, and an Archon whose intervention shattered the conquest, making way for a new future in the devastated nation. Earning the cooperation of the rebel factions fulfilled Kairos' plan of uniting the Tiers under one banner. The realization of this irony leaves you with many questions about the part you played, but precious few answers. You work to ensure peace in this new homeland, yet throughout your trials, the notion that you are a part of some greater manipulation haunts you. Now you lose sleep, trying to ignore it. With the Edict of Stone dispelled, the earth settles around the Stone Sea, ushering in a new age of verdant growth and prosperity. The country may never resemble the glorious realm of Azure, but with new life, many new things become possible. The memory of Kirin as a great force of destruction remains as a monument of inert rock. Most agree that the world is better off without the Archon of Stone, as the people of Azure begin to slowly reclaim the land that was once torn asunder by his power. With the Edict of Stone dispelled, you ensure that humans will once again populate the former realm of Azure. The Stonestalker tribe is gradually pushed out of their new territory, and those who don't resist are enslaved, put to work rebuilding new human settlements. Recruiting the Earthshakers for your army ensured that your arcane fists remained intact, and they were instrumental in helping you defend Lethian's Crossing when Graven Ash sent the disfavored to attack. After your victory in the Tiers, Radix tries to institute the same structure of order on the Earthshakers that served him so well in the disfavored. Unfortunately, his rigid rules cause such friction within the Order that the mages quickly tear themselves apart. With the prolonged stalemate against the disfavored put to a close, the Unbroken are able to think of peace and freedom for the first time since the coming of Kairos. They govern their people with fairness and understanding that was absent in the days of the Regents. You put the last of Graven Ash's families to the sword, ensuring that the end of his long and decorated lineage. Though you often wonder if more could have been done to prevent the horrible deed, you don't bother yourself wondering for long. Though it takes time to recover from the devastation from the Edict of Storms, the Bladegrave begins its slow march towards healing. The realm of Stalwart may never resemble its former glory, but the land is not so blasted that something new and better can't be built atop the bones of the past. The Regent bloodline has ended. With it, new traditions and legacies spring to life. Your travels never took you to the Burning Library, and this leaves the Edict of Fire undisturbed, consigning the Vellum Citadel to a future engulfed by perpetual flame. With their arcane knowledge beyond reach, the School of Ink and Quill falls into steep decline, your name becoming a curse in their embittered ranks. Sorry, guys. After granting control of Lethian's Crossing to your coalition, the city falls into a state of frequent disarray with pockets of order. While your allies are pleased to control the settlement, it will take time to work for them to grow out of their wartime rivalry and into the true mantle of shared leadership. By returning the Magebane helm to Lethian's Crossing, you ensured the Bane would not be able to get into the city. For the time being, the threat of a Bane incursion is dispelled. The settlers are grateful to go about their lives unburdened by this peril, though knowing how close they came to annihilation haunts them. They hope the security you provided endures. You lent your martial prowess to the Battle of Lethian's Crossing, recognizing the attack would have been devastating without your intervention. The settlers praise you as their salvation. The city is renamed Eltimar's Crossing, nice, in your honor, and everyone who witnessed the battle speaks of you with the highest regard. The citizens of the town never quite recover from the death of Eldian, and a statue is erected in his honor, with a plaque engraved with several of his favorite sayings. The Forgebound thrive in your coalition. For the first time in recorded history, women and men of southern origin are able to take up iron weapons and stand tall against the oppression of tyrants. By enacting an edict on Vendrian's Well, you announced your power to the world and showed Kairos' forces what you were capable of. When you defeated their leader and scattered the army before you, it sent the message to Kairos, a new Archon is born. While the edict dissipated, its effect will always be felt as the first true threat to Kairos' rule. The death of Graven Ash means the end of the disfavored. Without the comfort and support of the great general, what remains of the Legion sinks into hopelessness. The Archon's seat is left vacant, and whether or not it can be occupied again is a heated topic. Far from his place of final rest, the Northern Empire mourns its fallen son. Killing the voices of Nerat spreads the joy of bloody vengeance across the continent. Celebrated as the death of history's greatest parasite, the occasion is marked by all who suffered under the oppression of the Scarlet Chorus. Even in victory, one thought nags you. Though you witness his death, you can't help but wonder if the voices of Nerat is done with you. Tanon the Adjudicator continues to dispense justice from a seat in the Bastard City. He follows the laws you craft to the letter, advising on any of the meticulous changes you lack the time or the patience to draft. Without his aid, the task of keeping order in the tiers would be nigh impossible. The death of Bled and Mark deprived the world of a most capable murderer. One less bedtime story to scare children is no significant loss, though you can't help but glance at the dark corners of every room and feel as if someone is watching you. Bled and Mark will always cast a long shadow on your life. He has really cool looking daggers. The death of Graven Ash left Barrick a shadow of his former self. He follows you for a time, as much out of habit as reflex. All agree there is nothing of him left under this iron shell. He departs your company without a word, assuming a position at a crossroads where he allows himself to rust, as solid as any statue. Brutal. Verse finds herself adrift in the relative peace and follows your conquest. She returns to the field and seeks out young women from rural communities, imparting her fighting skills to only the most passionate. Over the course of many apprentices, she follows the voices of Nerat's example and forms a personal army, the Callous Sisterhood. Verse proves to be a strict teacher, and you hire her services often, confident that she'll take any assignment where there's blood needed to be spilled. Lantry keeps a close watch over you, scribbling his account of your deeds and accomplishments in his tireless quest to fill the chronicle with history and knowledge. He follows you even into his twilight years, and together you learn much about the world. You pretend not to notice Lantry's waning strength, though you find yourself pausing mid-sentence to let his writing catch up. He recognizes your generous ruse and appreciates it in silence. Oh, dude, that's sad. Exhausted from fighting, Ebb shifts her focus to the broken school of Tidecasters. She recruits as many talented students as possible, but apprentices are difficult to find in the tense post-war tiers. The few who are drawn to her teachings show promise, and Ebb has little doubt that the Tidecasters can return to their former strength in less than a decade or two. The going will be hard for some time, though. With no desire to remain in the company of humans, Kills in Shadow returns to the wilderness and seeks out her own kind. She discovers a haggard community of beastmen who abandon the realms of Haven and Azure, only to be enslaved by Kairos' forces. Out of this rabble of defectors, she forges a tribe, their nomadic ways respecting no established border or law. They raid villages and caravans when possible, glutting on the spoils and boasting of their severed ties with the human world. Though a large bounty follows in this tribe's wake, no human can survive the hunt for its leader. Siren grows quiet over time, speaking little and foregoing her songs as she distances herself from your military. One day she simply walks out of camp and makes for the wilderness of the Tiers. Rumors reach your ear that Siren has occupied an abandoned mountainside temple, her vow of silence drawing a small group of respectful followers. You leave her in peace. You turned your back on your career in the Overlord's hierarchy, disregarding years of advancement to help the people of the Tiers. Your sacrifices paint you as a folk hero, a liberator, and the artisan of future change. When Kairos retaliates, you will have the support of your newfound allies to help drive back the onslaught. From your perch atop the ancient spire, you can see hints of the Northern Empire just beyond the mountains. At your command, horns shout a triumphant cry across the valley, heralding the end of one long campaign, and the beginning of another. Well, that was a really good game. It was shorter than I anticipated, but many people told me that it was a relatively short game. So, that's going to be the end of the series. Planescape Tides of Numenera isn't out until February, so we are going to be beginning Neverwinter Nights. Not tomorrow, because it's Friday, and not Saturday, because I'm going to be busy moving, so that's just not going to be a day we're going to do any recording. But most likely on Sunday we will be beginning Neverwinter Nights 2 and Mask of the Betrayer. Obviously we'll do the base game first and then the expansion, so that is the end of the series. As I always ask at the end of an entire series, if you like the content of the channel, please subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. I really liked this one. Combat was a little wonky to get used to at first, but the storyline was pretty top-notch, and the decision-making was really cool. I actually really enjoyed how it all turned out. So, that's going to be the end of the series. Take care, everyone. Have yourselves a great weekend. It's almost Christmas. That's pretty cool for those of you who celebrate Christmas. For those of you who don't, happy whatever holidays you celebrate, or non-celebrate, as it were. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.